Okay, now I'm gonna explain like the analysis of this work of this project is about wines, like all indicators, um, like chemical and physical indicators for wine, like acidity, pH. Okay, like this type of characteristics of the wine of red and white wines. Like the city that I searched and that I found was about 1,600 uh, type of wines. Is not divided only in red and white. Here we have like the different types like Porto, Merlot, and all of these. I delved into the wine quality data set, and my first goal was to identify like how key chemical and physical properties influence wine quality across different types. So, like starting with the sheet and quality average per type, and notice that white and red wines show like subtle differences in average quality. The data revealed that on average, white wines tend to like score slightly higher in quality than red wines, and these could be influenced by the type of grape and like the use of the grape and the fermentation processes or how consumers perceive balance and freshness. Quality is often attributed to the white wines. Okay, here we have like some difference between each one because are not based on the same grape. Um, like if you see, for example, a Porto and a Merlot, they have a special name because, for example, the Merlot, uh, if I'm not wrong, um, its name is because of the type of grape that they use to create that type of wine. And the Porto, I'm not sure if the Porto is about the type of grape or the place where it comes, because the Porto is about Portugal. So, yeah, but yeah, why? That's the reason why they have like different names. We have two types of grapes, principally that are the purple grape and the green grape. So the green grape is obviously the one that we use to produce the green wine, and the purple grape that we see commonly, but is not the one that we buy like shopping. Um, is the one that we use to produce the red wine. So yeah, this is what happened with the quality with these two type of wines. Is because of the type of grape, principally, because of the fermentation that each one of it like give us in the product. So that's principally the possible reason about the difference between one quality in some type of wines and other in other type of wines. So now moving on to alcohol average per type. The average alcohol content is also marginally higher in white wines. This initially surprised me, um, because as red wines are typically perceived as stronger, that you see it, and if you go to Carulla and D1, Éxito, you said, okay, I'm going to buy a red wine than a a white wine, because it is more strong, have more level of alcohol. That's not too real if we analyze this information, or probably, but in the wines that we study in this database, doesn't apply. Okay, and first of all, as about what I know, about what I learned, is that the white wine have more level of alcohol or more alcohol level because of the type of grape. And also, we say it again that the white wine use a green grape. So the green grape have more acidity, um, and you use more sugar to have a better fermentation. Because first, we need to regulate the acidity of the wine, and secondly, we want to preserve like that flavors of that green grape. So um, if you use like a more level of sugar in the production of a wine, you're gonna have more fermentation, and if you have more fermentation, you're gonna have more alcohol level. So that's basically the explanation of why a white wine is probably giving us a more like alcohol level in this study. So, however, this could be like to the fermentation control typically applied to white wines, allowing winemakers to achieve a cleaner finish with elevated alcohol while maintaining freshness. The wine, because what I was saying, the type of grape is principally the reason of why we have like a different level of alcohol in white wines and red wines. Um, okay, probably know how people can know which wine is red, which wine is white. For example, an example, the Cabernet Sauvignon is a red wine, and a Verdejo is a white wine. So you can see in the type of bottle, in the color of the wine, because if you go to the market and buy a red wine, the bottle is completely like black for or dark green. You can see, or we can say it like in that terms. And if you buy a white wine, it's light green. When you put it on the cup, the color is very different. Really, is a red wine and a white wine because of what because of that color that you see on the cup when you like put the wine on it. So yeah, that's basically the difference. Um, in the quality versus acidity, um, I investigated the relationship between volatile acidity and quality. The trend showed that wines with lower volatile acidity generally received higher quality scores. This confirms what I already knew from winemaking, because excessive volatile acidity can lead like to off flavors, a remission of vinegar, like yeah, you can see an essence of vinegar, or the product that you use on your nails, or principally girls, to remove the I don't know the name, but the paint of the nails, so you can like identify this type of, yeah, like of flavors, probably we can say it like that, which negatively impacts the tasting experience. Because if you don't have a good flavor, or you don't have a good smell, you don't want to consume that wine. You said, I prefer that not. Yeah, because it's not something um like grateful for me, because I can't resist to consume that type of wine. Um, now, then I analyze the sulfates average per quality, So this indicate that wines with higher quality scores tend to have slightly like higher level of sulfates, and since sulfates act as preservatives for the wine and antioxidants, their control like use may contribute to longevity and sensory stability for a high quality of the wine. Um, as I mentioned before, we have a fermentation process, and based on that fermentation process, we have levadura. I don't remember how is like the way to say it in English. Yeast. Sorry, yeast as is the name of the product that we use also to the process of fermentation, and this is a microbiotic um, like species that have a reproduction in the process of fermentation, and we don't want it to expand too much or don't do the correct process, or that the yield yeast, sorry, like die in the process, because they can die if you don't give it the conditions of like the darkness or the temperature. Yeah, are some things that you need to analyze there to have a good wine, um, to really uh, sorry, sorry, I'm nervous. To really like have that good wine, you use sulfates to maintain that uh, good process of the wine, and don't like lose the production. And so, however, excessive use can be problematic, really, because so finding the right balance is key. Yeah, you don't want to be too much or too less, because the process is gonna be lost, and you don't gonna feel like happy if you lose all your production because you don't have a balance in the fermentation, in the amount of sulfates, in the amount of acidity, in all the process of the wine. You need to have like balance. um Okay, now the in the category of wines per pH, or like the type of wine related to the pH, wines were categorized like by pH levels. So I found that most wines fell into how to say it, like into moderate pH between 3.0 and 3.3. Interestingly, because wines with extremely low or high pH didn't score as highly in quality. This affirms the importance of maintaining like a pH in a balance as a critical element in wine preservation and taste perception, because also the pH gonna have a very big impact on the preservation of the flavor. Because what happened, the pH indicates the level of acidity and alkaline in a product. Can be food or whatever. Yeah, also your skin have a pH, everything have a pH. And in terms of food, if you have a lower pH, a, a really very lower pH, you have too much acidity in the product. And if you have a highest pH, you're gonna have an alkaline product. So in the lowest case, the wine you're gonna identify like more like a vinegar more than a wine, because it's very acid. Yeah, so because of that, we can't like have a too much a lower value of pH on the wine. And also an alkaline wine it gonna be taste like a sugar wine, because alkaline is that like a taste of sugar. So a wine that you taste it and you say this is like candy and not as a wine, as an alcohol, you don't want to taste it. Yeah, we also have some type of wines, especially like in Colombia. Here in Colombia, I'm sorry, we have, for example, cariñoso or something like that, that they have a more higher level of pH and a lower level of alcohol because it's more for people that want like yeah, sugar product than a real alcohol product. So that's the reason why the pH level need to be like managed. Now exploring residual sugar average per type of wine. I observed that white wines had a higher average of residual sugar compared to red wines. This is consistent with many white varieties that aim for a fruitier, sometimes semi-sweet profiles, whereas are often drier. So this also aligns with general consumer preferences. Yeah, especially like for less experienced drinkers who gravitate towards smoother, slightly sweet wines. So yeah, I think this is very related because with all the information that I'm mentioning, because if you have more residual sugar in white wines, is because of the amount of sugar that you need to use to preserve and to conserve like the flavors of a white wine. Sorry. So yeah, this is like the conclusion of that category. Now, alcohol average per quality showed a very strong and consistent like trend. Wines with higher alcohol content were generally rated with higher quality. So this supports the hypothesis that moderate to high alcohol levels can enhance body and complexity, like key factors in perceived quality, especially in red wines, because of the amount of alcohol that is perceived in this type of wine. Um, Now I compare total sulfur dioxide averages between wine types. White wines had notably higher total sulfur dioxide levels. So this is a well-known practice since white wines are more prone to oxidation and microbial spoilage because of the fruit, principally requiring more protection. So it also signals to me as a winemaker and as a sommelier the importance of tailoring like sulfate usage to the wine style and preservation needs. So this like average or this amount of the sulfur dioxide is important to take into account to make a great wine. Um, Now, with free sulfur versus total sulfur, here I compare the available free sulfur to the total content of the sulfur. So, as healthy balance is visible, but I don't know. It also reminded me of the importance of monitoring not just how much sulfur dioxide is added, but how much is able to protect the wine without like altering its aroma or mouthfeel. Yeah, because if you exceed the amount that you need and that you can't put to the wine didn't gonna be a great product. Yeah, so that's principally why we need to control the amount of the sulfur dioxide because aroma and mouthfeel. Lastly, the category of critic acid average versus quality average reveal like a moderate positive relationship between citric acid and quality. This supports the idea that a balanced acidity profile with brightness and freshness imparted by critic acid can enhance like the perception of wine quality, particularly in white varieties. If we can see, if we analyze that, because yeah, we can see it more in white varieties of wine. To close like this analysis, as a winemaker and wine enthusiast, as a sommelier, this analysis not only confirms some long-held beliefs, but also reveals like nuanced insights I can apply to both production, and marketing, yeah, to production and to the taste of wine. For instance, understanding that sorry, alcohol and sulfates are positively like correlated with perceived quality within like rationable limits, obviously, helps guide how I manage fermentation and preservation of the wine. Uh, like since the moment that I have the grape until the moment I have a final wine. So yeah, also like the subtle differences between wine types in terms of residual sugar, mm, and pH. It can show me where to focus when crafting styles that resonate with specific consumers principally. This exercise deepens my appreciation for how data can validate like sensory experiences and guide innovation, because it reminds me that the wine is not only art but also a science. Yeah, because in the production we also see it like an art, like okay, this is a process, but it's fully of art things. Is not only of that, also is science. So like, how to say, like when we speak stroke numbers, chemistry, and above all, um, passion is gonna be there, and a critical impact gonna be there also, because you have a stronger idea of how you need to like take these processes in a well balance, in the correct way, to give to the consumer or to consume a great product with a high quality, with a level of alcohol, um, in a balance terms, and all of these that I was mentioning in this analysis. So this is what I could analyze in this project. This is what I think, and yeah, that's it. I want to thank uh, teacher, um, and also thank me because of the opportunity that I give me to analyze information of wines, because it's like a passion that I have. So this is not like a work that I do because I'm obligated to do this work or something like that. No, that's not about that, because I love this like topic, and I go like a level upper, because yeah, I learned that data and information, numbers, categories can let me understand better how a process need to be realized. So yeah, that's my reflection for me and in general. So thank you for your attention, and this is my project of wine types and wine quality for a business intelligence class. Thank you.